AITA for disrespecting my stepdad in front of my grandparents, and telling my mum what I really think about her husband? First time posting, kinda nervous. I did my best to make this as short as I could, but there's a lot to consider, so sorry if it is a bit long. Some important backstory: I, 16M, was raised by a single mother, 49F. My biological father left before I was born, only coming into my life when I was 8. Over a 12-month period, he did some pretty bad stuff, and whilst I won't go into details, I still struggle a lot because of what he did, especially when it comes to trusting people. I think it's important to make it clear that I want nothing to do with him, and have been no contact for 6 years. Growing up, I spent a lot of time with my grandparents, and my grandpa was the best father figure I could ask for, so I am not lacking in that department. My mum met my stepdad in July of 2019. We moved in with him and his son, 21M, in January of 2020. We now live a 2.5-hour drive away from where I grew up, meaning I have no family or friends living close to me. I never really made any friends in my current town, due to COVID restrictions impacting the years I spent at school here, so I only started making friends after I started high school, about an hour away. I have never liked my stepdad that much, though I have always been nice to him. He makes my mum happy, and I don't want to risk hurting her or her relationship. My stepdad and his son never really had a good relationship, and are often arguing. I think part of the reason I've struggled to have a relationship with my stepdad is because he speaks to me the same way he speaks to my stepbrother, quite aggressively, often yelling. However, I do not respond well to this as my mum has never raised her voice with me and we have always been kind and calm with each other. A lot of conflict has stemmed from this, mainly the fact that my stepdad pretty much refuses to listen to me when I ask him to do things like speaking to me in a calmer way. He is usually very reluctant to admit to being wrong, and I have never heard him apologize to anyone for anything. Overall, I don't think he is a good person. He is self-centered and only helps others when it is convenient for him. He gets angry very easily, and never actually tries to solve problems. He just waits until the issues are forgotten about. He refuses any and all help or advice that could help him become a better person, and has never changed any of his behaviors for more than a week or two, and only at my mum's request. On to the main problem. Earlier today, my grandparents came over to watch the AFL, Australian Football League, Grand Final, and at the start of the game I said something about my stepdad's lack of appreciation to my mum's cooking. He would rather eat frozen, ultra-processed food than my mum's cooking, which I think is so stupid because my mum's food rivals Gordon Ramsay's. This was relevant to the conversation, and is not something I said out of the blue. We were eating some sausage rolls and my grandma commented on how nice they were, and my mum told her about my stepdad's preference. Apparently, he took offense, but remained silent about it. He even laughed with us when I made the joke. I had no intention to insult him directly, and said the joke in what I thought was quite a light-hearted way. If he told me I upset him, I 100% would have apologized. A bit before the game's halfway point I went to find one of our cats, as my grandparents had not met her yet. She's 5 months old, and was only a few weeks when they were last at our house. She is not too fond of strangers and tried to get out of my arms while I was holding her, but I didn't drop her right away because I was standing up and didn't want her to hurt herself from jumping from too high. I was in the process of crouching down when my stepdad started snapping at me to just put the cat down, and said that if I didn't she's never let me pick her up again. His tone was quite harsh, and I said something along the lines of, if you didn't get mad at me for breathing, you'd have the sense to realize I was in the process of putting her down. I just didn't want her to accidentally get hurt. I will admit I was rude, but I felt like he had no reason to speak to me the way that he did for just holding the cat, who is usually very happy to be carried around. My stepdad stood up about halfway through my sentence, and started yelling at me for performing while my grandparents are here, and talking back to everything he says. I had hardly spoken to him all day, only at the start of the game and once this morning when he told me to get ready to leave the house. He started muttering about how I was disrespectful and left the house. My grandma was appalled, and my mum said to her that, "It's like children arguing," to which I replied, "But only one of us is a child." My grandma told me I need to learn when to shut my mouth, and that I shouldn't be disrespectful, and my mum agreed and said that I should be the bigger person. The thing is, I've been being the bigger person for 5 years. He is often quite rude and aggressive towards me, yelling at me when my mum isn't around, getting offended when the wind shuts the car door a bit too hard, being angry with me when I don't feel like talking after a hard day. He also has a tendency to assume I'm mad at him because he notices a small thing like me avoiding eye contact, and then will be angry with me the rest of the day. I never say anything because I don't want to cause conflict, and I know how he gets when he's mad. I told my mum this, and the fact that he makes me feel as bad about myself as my biological father did, and is doing nothing but proving I can't put my trust in a father figure. I told her that I don't feel secure in my own home, and I fear for the safety of me. He is much bigger than me, and my belongings. He has threatened to break/throw out both my and my stepbrother's stuff before out of anger. I told my mom that I wouldn't respect someone who had no respect for me, and he didn't deserve my respect anyway. This silenced my mom, and my grandma scolded me. My grandpa said nothing the whole time, honestly, respect for avoiding the drama, and after a few more minutes of sitting on the couch I went back to my room, where I have been for most of the afternoon. My stepdad came home a few hours ago, and is back in the living room, and I can't go and try to talk to my mom or grandparents without him being there, which I don't want. I also feel like my friends will be biased if I try to get their help because most of them have never met my stepdad, or have only said a quick hello. I can't ask my therapist because it's a public holiday, so, like anyone would do, I turn to strangers on the internet. So, Reddit, AITA for being rude to my stepdad and telling my mom what I think about her husband?